Hey guys, I saw The Descendants this weekend, so I thought I would share some of my thoughts on it with you. It's directed by Alex Payne, who did Sideways, of course, and it also stars George Clooney. And I'll tell you a little bit about the premise first of all. It takes place in Hawaii, and that's one thing I really love about the movie. Hawaii, of course, is known for being this romanticized, um, touristy paradise, but in this film, it is anything but that. It's very stripped down and becomes very real, which is one of the themes I really appreciate in this film. But it's about George Clooney, who's this normal business guy, and he has a wife who is in this really horrific boating accident, and she is in a coma as a result. And they are going to have to pull the plug on her because there's no point of keeping her alive because she's never going to wake up from her comatose. And of course, this poses quite a dilemma for George Clooney's character, mainly because he's got two daughters and he really doesn't have much of a relationship with them. He's got one daughter in college and the other one's a little girl, and they're both pretty rebellious in their own sort of way. And he just, as I said, he really doesn't have much in common with them, I guess, or at least he thinks he doesn't. And not only that, he's going to have to tell his daughters that their mother's going to die. And he's also going to have to tell his friends, his wife's parents, all of these people. So it's quite a challenge for him. But of course, the movie is about loss and how you deal with loss. But what I like so much about it is it's about seeing who real people are in the most dire of circumstances. Because, it's one thing when you know people or you think you're friends with people, but you find out who they really are after something horrible happens. And even with his wife, he discovers later on in the film that his wife was actually having an affair behind his back. And even his daughters, his oldest daughter, obviously didn't really have a great relationship with her mother, and this sort of comes out later in the film as well. So, from what you gather, the wife was really, she made a lot of mistakes when she was alive. Enough for these people to sort of have every right to hate her. But should they hate her or should they be sensitive to her passing? It's kind of one of those things. It's hard to explain. And even if you yourself were in that situation, what would you do? If there was somebody that was really a jerk or something like that and they died, I mean, yeah, you should feel bad, but at the same time, they were kind of not cool when they were alive. So I really like the angle that the movie comes from in that sense. I think that this is one of the best films of the year, certainly. I think that just in terms of the writing and the way that it's paced, it's got a very languid, beautiful style to it. And the people are just real, and I can't stress that enough. I love how realistic they are, how quirky and honest, but I think above all, they're very flawed people. Every single one of them has lots and lots of flaws, and they're all very layered. And there's no stereotypes, no caricatures. I think often in these types of movies, it's very easy to resort to that. And even while I was watching the movie, there were times where I would think, oh, well, I'd see a character and I think, well, they seem like a stereotype or a caricature. And it turns out that they're not. Every single person is fleshed out in some sort of way. And it's very interesting because, we rarely get that nowadays. But I also have to comment on George Clooney's performance. I mean, they all are wonderful performances, but George Clooney, of course, being the star and being the icon that he is, I think this is a very interesting choice for him. I mean, he's known, of course, for doing star roles. He's known for the glamour and the charisma. But he is undeniably getting a lot older, and you can really see it now. His face actually moves now. He's very, I mean, he's wrinkled and he's really revealing his age more and more as the years go by. And I think it's great that he really embraces his age and he's able to take on roles that challenge him. And he was so used to doing a certain leading man type of role in a very Hollywood type of setting, but now he's graduating in a sense to more mature roles that are more for acting and less about kind of the star. And I just think that this is honestly one of his best performances. The older he gets, the more I appreciate who he is. The same goes for people like Brad Pitt, who I'm starting to appreciate more and more. But I really respect actors who, were kind of idols in their day for their looks and charisma, but they prove that they're really great actors as well. And there's a lot to admire in this movie. There were things I didn't like. The opening monologue, I think, I think was a little unnecessary. But overall, I think that this movie is definitely worth your money. I encourage everyone to go see it, and I think you'll be hearing a lot more about this movie as the year goes on. And yeah, so if you see it, please, you can comment, let me know what you think, and yeah, see you next time.